falling into. So let's start a new section. The section which is called Dor Mabul. Let's read the top part. Just see if we get little pieces of trying to understand. Now he's comparing Eric Anpin to Zer Anpin in so many different ways. V'yom Hashem lo yadun ruchi ba'adam la'olam b'shagam hu basar. So we already had this concept that basar is red. So it also has its red qualities. It's full of dinim. Yama ruchi, that I'm not going to let my ruach, which is what? He says, is it Zer Anpin? La'olam b'shagam hu basar. V'yom Hashem the yudke vavke kad is yashvach b'ze'era mikan b'ze'era. So when it's connected to Zer Anpin, so he said mikan. He says dava b'shem omro. So now we're talking about who is saying this, who's the speaker. Ta'atika sasim ka'amar. So it's Atika, that is Eric Anpin, who's closed up and hidden. That's who's speaking. Lo yadun ruchi ba'adan la'ela. Now he says, I don't know. He says adan la'ela would be Zer Anpin. He says, is that I'm not going to always have a connection with Zer Anpin. Mishum the Bahaku Rucha is Nashvach Metrin Nukfin, because that Ruach over there by Zer Anpin, it breathes through two nostrils. The Pardashka, the nose. Mashek the Satoy, and then it goes downward. If it begin Kacha says, for this is the reason V'hoya Yomov Meya Ve'esrim Shana. He lived 120 years. Now there's plenty of mysteries in that. So let's see what this is the Dor HaMabul on page Kuf Yotes. Be'inyan Dor HaMabul, Kosach HaBetarva, the Torah said, V'yomer Hashem lo yadin ruchi, so yadin is lashon, though I guess it will stay my ruach, ba'adam la'olam, b'shagam hu basar. And then he throws in also this concept that also is flesh, I guess, not permanent. He named it Tzad Echon Muchrach, for one side we have to learn it like this, Shemaimer below Yadun Ruchi Ne'emer al Yedei Eric Anpin. Who is the speaker here? So he said, he named Mitzad Echa. From one way, you have to look at who's the speaker here. That's Eric Anpin. Ruach Nimshach Mechetim Eric Anpin, because where is the concept of breath comes from? It comes from the nose of Eric Anpin. Ukamoshi is boil, as we're going to talk about later. He says, Mitzad Sheni, and from a second side, Kosev V'yomer Hashem, it's written like this, V'yomer Hashem, Hashem says, behind the Zer Anpin, Hanik B'chavaya, Zer Anpin is also, could be a speaker here, he could be, because he is Havaya. So then how is it possible that you could have two speaking? So he says that we have to say, the Hagam Shazer Anpin, Amid Devarim Elu, that whereas we see that Zer Anpin, he actually did say these words, but it's not generated from Zer Anpin, but it's coming from a higher level. Because it's Eric Anpin, which is Panemi to Zer Anpin, is when it's revealed in Zer Anpin, B'selch Zer Anpin. Mikan Davar B'Shem Amro. So then he's speaking in the name of where he got it from. And Mikan moving, so you understand that phrase which says is that my ruach will no longer abide with you. Lo Zer Anpin ma'atzmo, it's Zer Anpin saying perhaps the words, but the fact of the matter is that I guess the Sochav Anuk, because I'm thinking saying goes more with Malchus, but anyway, Zer Anpin ma'atzmo ela na'ema b'shem omro, but he says it is the same he who says that. The Hand b'shem Eric Anpin, which is revealed, that is, the words of Eric Anpin are revealed here through Zer Anpin. The Mavari Inyan explains like this: the Hatika Sasim Ka'amar, that this Hatika, that's Eric Anpin, who is so hidden. Lo Yadin Ruchi B'Chadu de La'ela. Now he says, he adds in this phrase de La'ela. She Eric Anpin Hanikra Hatika Sasim. So he's Sasim, he's called the ancient closed up ones, B'Shum Shuhu Sasim V'Gonav Zer Anpin, because where is it hidden? He's inside of Zer Anpin, that's where he's hidden. Amr Bizman Dor HaMabul. So this goes along with the concept that we were saying before in the previous portion about the Parsa, is that you realize that Eric Anpin is Panimi to Zer Anpin, because another way of saying it is that Zer Anpin is surrounding Eric Anpin from the Tibur Lamata. So here's that section here, and then we're over here now. Hamad Dor Mabul during the time of the Dor Mabul Shalo Yadun Ruchi Be'adam Elyon. What's that mean? Koloma Ruchi Hayotzim Chotmi. That is the ruach that comes out of my nose. Lo Yispashel El Zer Anpin. It should not go directly into Zer Anpin Hanikra Adam. V'hatama. What's the reason why? Mishum the Bahaku Rucha the Isnasher Betrin Nukfin, because that breath that's coming out of the two nostrils. He says the Bardashkin Mashik the Satoi. Let me get this lined up right. He keeps going downwards. Mishum sheba'oza ruach hanishbech mishnei nikve ha'chaytim. So that ruach, the Erik Anpin, that's coming out of the nose of Erik Anpin, on nikra badashka. And we apply that word to Erik Anpin. Yor v'nimshach ruach chayim al yedecha bezer Anpin. So what happens is it goes down, it extends down that ruach, al yedei zer anpin, through zer anpin, the bnei adam etachtoinim, ultimately winding up at us. And since the Dor Mabul really messed up, Amar Erik Anpin, so the Erik Anpin says, Shalo Yashiv as Ruchi, as Ruach Chutmo L'zer Anpin, that I will no longer be breathing the breath that comes out of my nose to Zer Anpin. Because he has a constant connection with the lower worlds, so that the Ruach Chaim al Bnei Adam should not come to the worlds down below, the Tachtainim, and this brings on a flood. And this led to the punishment that happened to the Dor Mabul, Avra'asim, on the evil that they were doing. So he says, the Nimsa, it comes out like this, Shazer Anpin Armad Devari Elo B'Shem Erik Anpin, that Zer Anpin said these words in the name of Erik Anpin. In other words, Erik Anpin is panimi to him, and it's really motivating him to say this. Keneged Adam Atachton Shelo Yimshach Alad Ruach Chaim, so this Ruach Chaim should not continue to go down there. V'Amar Od, and he said furthermore, Shebizman Dor Mabul, at the time of the Dor Mabul, no Nishaneg Zer Anpin B'Shem Pavaya. Now, when that was happening, Zer Anpin was not leaning on the right side. He was not dealing with the lower worlds in the name of Avaya Shuhu B'Midas Arachmim, Allah B'Shem Elokem Shuhu Midas Adin. But so therefore it was the left line leaning left. Of again Kach Chasiv, for this reason it's written B'Levicha Kasav B'Dor HaMabul. Therefore it's written in regards to the Dor HaMabul, V'Hoya Yomav Meya V'Esrim Shana, that he lived for 120 years. Now, what has 120 years got to do with the Dor Mabul? So he says, the Hainu, Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu, Ha'arich Apo, that he held back, he was patient, Me'ev Esrim Shana, 120 years. V'achar kach hevi aleichem es Mabul, and then he brought the Mabul. V'hinech ha'inyan Me'ev Esrim Shana, that's what I'd like to know. What has 120 got to do with it? The Fiha Sod, it goes to this, according to Sod, who shetachilo nisake v'mabul zaman shal me'ev esrim shana. Okay, so that's the pashtus. The fi shahoya oz besod shlitas me'ev esrim srufi shal shem elokem. So the elokem is a 5-letter word, and any 5-letter word has the possibility of 120 different combinations. Shem b'tzad kedusha, which is a side of kedusha. Now, I think I need to read this again because I'm trying to see, he's trying to tell me something about this concept of 120. So he says that a 120 means serufim. In other words, this is the different types of ways that dinim could be, that which are the elokim, the different punishments of elokim can come out. Okay, so I'll buy that. So if you follow after these 120 different serufim, heskil b'chinas elokim b'cheirim. This is where you start to getting into the olam of bia, shehem b'tzad haklipa, which is coming on the side of klipa already. So in other words, punishment ultimately leaves a borderline where you wind up in bria. V'oz na'anshe Dor Mabul, and this brought on the punishment of the Dor Mabul. V'nischar b'rav yidecha b'klipos, and they were destroyed through the klipos. V'chadinim shal Elohim acherim. Which is that lesson that the Zohar is telling us, is that people who practice witchcraft are really using Elokims, and it's a punishing kind of deal. Okay, and one time I went to a fire, and there's this Brazilian lady who was telling me she's a Marano, and she said that there was a fire in its apartment, and she said, you know what, when you play they know something about witchcraft. So you say when you play with demons, they catch fire. That's, they're nasty. Okay, then it says, let's go back to this letter. He said Yud, the letter Yud by itself, shlim velo shlim. You could either consider it to be complete or maybe not. Os Yud in the form of Yud Vav Daled. He says Chachma, it's Chachma kolelis shnei ofanim. So this is a Chachma which has two different paths or two different ways. Shehem kashehi shlema ba'osius and milui. So in other words, it's together. The Chachma is together with its milui. O kashehi ein shlema, or it's not completed ba'osius and milui. Elahi yud pishuta, but it's just a simple yud. Okay, now he says the Mabul Yud B'Lechadui. So he says, let's say like the Yud, when it's by itself, She'os Yud below Milui, Dahaida Os Yud B'Shuta Shel Chochma. So he says that number, or that Yud, he says the Meya. All of the Mispar Meya goes to the count of 100. So he said, Dahainu Yud Pamim Yud. So the Yud multiplies by itself. Besod Eses Sifra Shel Chochma, Asher Kol Achad B'Hem Kolula B'Eses. So he says that's the formula. So it's the fact that's the formula. It's 10 by 10. It's the 10 spheres of Chachma. Each one of them has 10 in it, makes 100. Ha'olameya. Trin Asvan, Trin Zimnin. V'shtei Osios Emilu. Now let's take the next two. Is the concept of Vav Daled, Shel Os Yud Vav Daled. Heim Rak Shtei Pamim Eser. They're only 2 times 10. Ha'olam Esrim. So here's another way to get to 120. So what is this? What do we need this for? So why didn't you do the same thing with the Vav Daled that you did with the Yud? He said, Kamola Os Yud Shel Chachma, who Mishum Os Yus Milui Heim Rak Anafim Aklula B'Chachma. So they're only branches that are really part of the Chachma, but they're a part. So the essence of the Chachma itself, which is just a Yud by itself, they're not that. They're extensions. So let's talk about the Meya of the Os Peshuta, where we went 10 by 10. And then you add another 10, Shal Milui Vav Daled, Harech Besaka Kol Meya Ve'esrim. Bechilin Shal Chachma, Shehin Sod Meya Ve'esrim Shana, which also brings you back to this concept of 120 years. Shel Dor Mabul and Nizker Le'el, which was mentioned up above. By Inyan Hu, so the Inyan really goes like this. Shebador Mabul Nistalek Mezer Anpin. Let me just start again. In the time of the Mabul, Nistalek Mezer Anpin Ruach HaChaim. The Ruach HaChaim left Zer Anpin. That is, that was coming from him from up above in Eric Anpin. Elyon Shel Chaitim Eric Anpin. It stopped. And from that time on, so now the world is only sustained through these different aspects of Chochmah, which we know that Chochmah is actually the generator of reproduction, so on and so forth. Okay, I think I skipped a page. Shel Chochmah, yeah, okay. Shehem Sod Me'av Esrim Shana, which is the secret of 120 years. For Amma or Yud B'Lechudoi. So now we got another way. We go like this. We have the Yud by itself, She'os Yud Shel Erik Anpen, Hu Peshuta. It's in the simple, just the Yud. Ve'ein B'Rabbe Osius Milui Vav Daled, Ki Heim Nechalamas Be'Erik Anpen, because they're hidden inside of Erik Anpen. The Rov Adakos, because they are so fine, so nothingness. Ve'ein Giloi Lebechinas Anafim, and you can't see the Anafim Be'Erik Anpen and Erik Anpen because everything is hidden there. Kadis Galia Bezera, but on the other hand, they can come into Zeranpin. Kashin is Gala or shall Erik Anpin Lamata, so now goes through, let's say, so to speak, the Zeranpin we said before is on the outside of Erik Anpin, and Erik Anpin then is shining into it. It produces this Vav Daled of the Nimshach Bezer Anpin, Ismashak Be'eser Alpin Shinin. Now let me see if I'm not getting myself confused. Azai, when Erik Anpin is shining into Zer Anpin, Osmis Pasha, the Mizrabech HaBe'or Shel Erik Anpin, Besod Asaras Alafin Shana, which is the concept of 10,000s of years. Ki Os Yud B'Shuta Shel Erik Anpin, because that Yud by itself in the level of Erik Anpin, Shehi Sod Eser Sfira Shachol Bakumas Erik Anpin, which is the secret of the 10 spheres of the height of Erik Anpin, all of the minion Eser Pamim Elef. It comes to the concept of 10 times 1,000. Ki Hasfir Shal Erik Anpin. So the lofim, and this is really to me, it means that there's a tremendous power here. It says that this is the source of the power. His galus or shall Erik Anpin. So we see like this: the revelation of the light of Erik Anpin. Lamato choya bedoras rishonim kodador Mabul. So it really, the original light was before the Dor Mabul. So that's why you see that life force was in them of Erik Anpin, and as a result of that, are manifest in them, and as a result of that, they lived 1,000 years. That's why. So then you had 10 generations till Noach, because in each one of those generations there were people who had this influence coming from directly into them, or manifest in them from Erik Anpin, Shechoya Elef Shana Bekira. So more or less, they were lived 1,000 years. This is the top of the concept of these 10,000s of years that we said, that we talked about. But after this time, but then that light was able to shine into people. It stopped. And as a result of that, then you see what happens is that people start living shorter. And he says further, and here it's written like this: he said, so miut kumas adam erishon. So let's see what it means. He said, what it means? To extend onto me your hand. What does this mean? Shuhu sod miut kumas adam erishon. This is the elimination or the squeezing down. What's right? Limiting the kumas adam erishon of the height of Abba Moshe Darsh Chazal. The rabbi says the kumas adam erishon, the real height of Abba Rishon, that is what it was. So whatever that means. But then he said, Kodesh Baruch Hu as Kapavalav. Hashem put his hands on the man. Then they pushed him down. Then he took him, only made it a Meya Amma Lavad. He's only 100 Amma tall. So what's this about? Originally he had that ha'ara that went from olam to olam, because Erik Anpin is panimi of the panimius of Itzilos. So that's the reason why you can say go from one universe to the next, because Erik Anpin is all universes. So the service of Lofim Shana, which is the same thing as the 10,000 years that we're talking about, which is that Shefa coming directly from Erik Anpin. But then he messed up. Nipsak b'menach ha'aras Erik Anpin, that the ha'ar from Erik Anpin stopped. And then he became small, like Zer Anpin. Now he has only the light. I guess he means to say that was deposited through Erik Anpin into Chochmah, but not direct connection to Erik Anpin. But there still is maybe Shimo. There is some ha'ara still in Zer Anpin of Erik Anpin. So therefore, that part of that amount of time, even after the sin, there was I guess he means as if there was a residual there of this shefa from Erik Anpin that is alive and well over there. So therefore, people lived 1,000 years. But then after that, but when the children of Adam Rishon died, Bedor Mabul, but then the light actually leaves Zer Anpin. And that's when the lives of people started to become diminished. Okay, that's the Torah. Next time we're going to do the Sod and the feeling.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeshua Koach.